Okay, we are live. Welcome to the Monday night Zenith Online Racing Tier 1 French Grand Prix. Got Mr. GP Colin back up in the booth with me. His first time at it last week. He's gonna roll
Going on,
again.
guys?
So, how you doing, GP?
Doing good. Doing good. Can't complain. Glad to be back.
You ready to roll again?
Yes, I am. I can't wait to see these guys race France.
Tough track, as most F1 tracks are, we all know. Lots of space to run off, very fast, needs a lot of grip, lots of high-speed corners. Going to be interesting, especially how the tire strategy will roll out as I get my settings rolling here for quali, for the best view for everyone.
Yep, and I'm pulling up the broadcast right now on my laptop. Make sure I can follow your view.
Okay, we're ready to roll. Possible strategies here, GP. I know we spoke with a driver beforehand. We heard medium to hards could be the way to go. Possibly soft hard, which may in turn end up making you slower. Softs will fall out around lap 6 to 8, around possibly in the middle there on 7. You want to go medium to hard because that will allow you to have that hard tire compound grip later on in the race.
Yeah, I would agree with that, simply because I wouldn't expect many full safety cars here. So there aren't going to be those types of opportunities to come into the pits and change the tires. So really, you need to think of this as non-stop racing, and I think that that's probably the best way to go. If you're one of the faster drivers, maybe you can go with soft to qualify and maybe get away a little bit and then hop onto the hards, but most guys probably will go medium and hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming, but we could see the guys that want to start out with the positive track position, hauling out on the soft tire there. But if we look at the standings here, you got Mr. Puff Digital, who got digital last week. He's setting P1. JFD with the unfortunate retirement, the Australian Grand Prix that we saw. He's 241 points, just 2 points behind Puff there, so very heated. Doth sitting there third place with 188. The Red Bulls of Puff Digital, Camden Luca, as he sets that 132.5 on the mediums. Red Bull is at 319 with the drivers of Puff Digital and R Biga. Racing Point just behind with Sir Harry and JFD. Sir Harry, I just heard, is taking a move. Currently in a move, so he's going to be off for a little bit, I believe. So that's leaving JFD as the lone Racing Point driver at the moment. And then just behind could be a change. We got the Ferraris there of Mr. Zeig, D-Zig as I like to say, but apparently it's Zeig. And the great guy himself, Mr. Doth Thou Hoist. So should be an interesting one. 5.8 kilometer track. I believe it's 27 laps. Could be wrong. 15 turns. So it's going to be an exciting race, GP. I know we're both ready for it. What are you thinking here? We got Coxey setting the 131 with RC in a 131 flat. Both very close together. Biga 131.3. So I think those guys could be just saying we're going to go softs here.
Excuse me. I'm following Puff right now. He's on a hot lap. He's on the hards. I'm sure this is probably just a test run, kind of get warmed up. But I'm interested to see what time he posts on the hards. I'm sure he's gunning for it.
Yeah, interesting. We got a lot of guys on different compounds. Sorry, I had to handle a message real quick. All three compounds out on the track at the moment. We might have those guys that are mid-pack drivers deciding to take that track position, get up front, They will be taking an early pit stop, obviously, but we do know, GP, you and I know from experience how that turn 1 entry works for this pit exit. The guys have been told, everyone knows, especially coming out of turn 14 there, heading into the pits, you don't want to be on the inside. Could make you cross over someone and possibly, give them a spin before you head into the pits. But the exit, even worse, is right on the entry. See if we can follow Arrow Strike here. As he comes down there, see that line? That is the pit exit, which is right before the braking point of turn 1, the left-hander. GP, you could run the viewers, I should say, through our incident if you would like, because I know you like your point of view of it better than mine.
Well, I can. The simple, I guess, approach would be if you're on track racing and somebody is coming out of the pits, just keep going, and you'll be fine. What happened to me last season, was that the driver coming down, I was coming out of the pits, driver coming down the front straight, saw me coming out but slowed. It confused me, and I slowed as well, and that caused you to hit me in the rear because you were coming out of the pits as well. I think if you're on track, you just keep right on going. You don't even have to worry too much about the guy coming out of the pit. Just move over a little bit to the left. You should be able to take that left corner, no problem.
Yeah, if you are the car moving, high speed, you are on a run, hot lap, brother, you have the right of way, 100%. But as a driver, all of us know that you want to get out of the pits, because that's how you lose time in an F1 car. I mean, the pit stops are 2.8 seconds, 3 seconds highest, unless you're changing a wing, but it's still a fraction of what a NASCAR or endurance series pit stop would be. You lose time driving on pit lane, so you want to get out of there as quick as possible, which makes it difficult at a place like this with the exit right in the racing line.
If I'm coming out of the pits, I have to go on blind faith that anybody that might be coming down the front straight has to recognize that I am coming out of the pits. And so long as I stay within the pit exit, we shouldn't have a problem. And if we do, that would definitely be a racing incident, provided the car coming out of the pits stays within the pit boundary. And so as far as my point of view, again, for me, coming down the front straight, somebody's coming out of the pits, I got to recognize that. I'm going to, give them their space, but keep going. If I'm coming out of the pits, I'm going and I'm not slowing down, provided I can stay within the pit exit lane.
Yeah, you obviously want to go. A lot of this game, a lot of this racing is on faith of the other drivers, being that you can drive beside them or take a corner with them. It just gets difficult. I mean, they handle it in real life, so you would hope everybody can do it here. The drivers were warned, not necessarily warned, but were spoken to before the race to let know procedures, if you'd say, how to handle the pit exit and how to deal with it if you are the driver dealing with the car coming out of the pits. But now that we've got that underway, let's take a look here. Zamoglis is currently setting P1 with a 130.4. So we have the top 6 here, all on the softs. That being Vitality, JFD. JFD sets a 130 on the softs. I'm wondering if that's a banker. Does he think he can go faster on the medium, maybe to try to fool some guys? I'm not too sure. I just, we obviously had that talk before the race, GP, that about the possible different strategy. So maybe guys are thinking soft hard, or maybe, we do have from 10th down to 18th there with the Ryan retirement. Could be a quali ban for him. We do have all the medium and hard compounds, so maybe guys are just back of the pack there, fast guys, maybe trying to go with the alternate strategy.
Yeah, we got Big right now on hot lap, sitting in 6th, and he's on the softs now. I didn't see what he set his first time on, but he's got a really good lap going right now. He's approaching turn 14.
We'll hop on board with Big as JFD dives in the pits. We'll see if JFD decides to make a tire change. Maybe he's just setting a little fake banker lap for everybody else to go off of. So let's talk about the track a little bit. Two DRS straights between the front stretch and turn 7 to turn 8. We know turn 7 to turn 8 is an incredibly long, very fast, very smooth straight leading down into 8 and 9, which is the quick left-right chicane to slow the cars down before they head into the flat-out turn 10. I'm a big fan of this track, GP. I don't know what you personally think, but after I've gotten my wheel, beforehand I wasn't as much, but now that I have my wheel, I really started to enjoy this place because it's flowy, it's fast, it gives the car the chance to really perform at a high level, I think.
I like the track as well because there's instant gratification. You hit the corners right, and you recognize it right away. There's plenty of spillway if you want if you do mess up, you don't need to worry about it costing you your race or somebody else's race. So in that respect, as a driver, it's fun because you can be aggressive to a point without worrying that you're too aggressive and you're going to ruin your race or somebody else's. So that makes it a lot of fun for me.
Mr. Puff Digital throws in the chat there as we were talking. It's a dry to wet race.
Oh,
so there's our questions answered. Guys are going to go with the track position up front, I guess I would say. Then maybe make a switch to the mediums to try to carry it into the rain, depending on how heavy the rain gets. Not too sure, Puff or anybody else, if it was heavy rain coming or if it showed that. Just know that maybe that's the obvious strategy change that we were confused about there, GP. So maybe that's the reason.
Yeah, and I'm still a bit confused because we got Arrow, who's very much into the weather and always knowing about the weather. He's on his outlap
on mediums.
So
maybe he's trying to carry those mediums into the rain, possibly. I think the medium should go 12, 13 laps, possibly. We will see, obviously, upcoming very shortly.
Oh, he's backing off.
He's going to let Gennett go.
Yeah.
So currently we got the top 5 on the softs. We got Doth there, 6th on the mediums. Team Money on the mediums. Gennett, Zyg, Arrow currently mediums, as we can see on the broadcast. Then Ty and Gruesome, all on mediums right now. I think that's the question, GP. Either mediums to the rain or softs for track position, pit to mediums to the rain. Or maybe the rain comes incredibly early. Who knows?
So, watching Arrow on the mediums, Arrow has pretty darn good tire wear. He can make his tires go longer than most. That tells me that he's thinking that the rain is going to be further beyond what the softs will get him to. So he's trying to stretch these mediums out and then perhaps get to just a one-stop onto the inters or whatever else. I don't know if it'll go directly to...
Well, we do have 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, and as I noticed, Puff and Beck are both on the mediums. So maybe they're going with the idea of arrows as well to try to get to the rain. Yep. That's what it comes down to. As we know, GP, we're tier 2 drivers. As Arrow is a tier 2 driver with us, good luck to him tonight. Showing the tier 1 boys how it's done, hopefully. But it's the strategy if you want to get to the rain or you want track position before the rain starts. So you got to make sure you can make it to the rain, so maybe that pit stop that comes up is going to be your wet tire pit stop. You don't want to go slicks again,
Right.
lose track
Exactly.
position in the pits, then have to pit again. And as you stated, GP, safety cars possibly, and I would think should be, a little less in number at a place like this, with all of the runoff, basically miles and miles of runoff. Ginner retires from the session P3, so he's just going to hang out there. But lots of runoff, so maybe we should see a little less of the bumping and stuff.
Yeah. But I think that when we're in the lobby, we're ready for the race, and we get presented with a forecast. It's really, I mean, they say the end of the race.
GP, your mic's breaking up a tad. I don't know if maybe your controller's going dead.
Yours was too. I was going to tell you that.
Oh, well, now it seems back to normal. Somebody in the chat, go ahead and type how well our volumes are, and if you can hear GP, please. And thank you very much. It would be much appreciated. Is the mic better now, GP?
Yes, you're not breaking up at all.
GP, 13 seconds left. Go ahead and run us through the grid, and then it'll obviously go black screen, and you can finish it out before we head into the formation lap.
Well, as Arrow approaches turn 13 and 14, we got Vitality in first with a 133. And, Zamoglis, as I said that, just passed him with a 130.2. Oh, and JF, geez and crow, I gotta wait a second here, Pace, because they're all, it's changing at the top as we speak. Right, currently now, JFD, Zamoglis is second, Vitality third, Zyg fourth, RC7 is fifth, Ginnett sixth, Camden Luca seventh, Aerostrike eighth, Coxie in ninth, and Doth without hoist rounds out the top 10. Following Doth, we got Bigga, Money, Sam, Stan, Beck, Errand, Gruesome Car, Hoff in 18th, and X Ryan serving his volley ban, I guess, in 19th. Puff Digital in 18th. On the hards, that's a surprise. JFD at the top is not, although he claims he's not a great qualifier.
Yeah, he proved himself wrong once again. Once again, JFD up top. Sorry for the little delay. Puff let us know that he invalidated his last run there, so that's why he's setting P18.
Guido,
I had to handle a few messages.
I'm sorry, Pace. Guido says our volumes are fine. Everything's going well.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Guido. I had to handle a few messages there just before the race gets started. Dealing with a little bit of personal things, but excited for the race to get going. Excited to see what these Tier 1 drivers can do. They're always pretty good dudes, fun to watch. Very exciting thus far that I've been doing the commentating. You know, you want
around, Pace, if I may. Sorry, I didn't
go
mean
ahead.
to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you if you had who your favorite was, and then your dark horse.
You know what? I'm gonna have to go with JFD, I think, because you know he likes to say that he's not a fast qualifier, but he has proven himself wrong 2 weeks in a row. The strategy did change from the medium hard possible dry race strategy. to making it to the rain or just getting good track position in the softs. But I think I'll have to go with JFD here, maybe setting up pole. And the dark horse I would have to go with, I think maybe Ginett to win it. He can start in the back of the pack, and he always finds his way up there in front somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've seen the guy go from 18th to almost a win in Germany, with the little bump and run that he had on T-Money, which was a racing accident. The guys talked it out. Good work by both drivers awesome. There.
Yeah, I
love
that.
But Ginett can always make a run to the front. And starting 6th, that's not too far to go for the guy. So I think I'm going to have to go with JFD for the possible race winner and a secondary choice with Ginett.
Yeah, the only thing I would... Ginett usually starts on the softer compound the harder compound and is quite a bit further back. I'm surprised he's only 6th on the faster compound. So he's quite aggressive. I don't know how long his tires are going to last because he usually starts on the harder compound and finishes on the soft.
Not to jump over yet. Go ahead and take us through the formation lap. I have a quick phone call to make. You have to step out of the booth for a moment. Take us through the formation lap, and I will be back once we're all lined up and ready to roll here.
Okay. Well, as we wait, the guys are putting their strategies together, sitting on a grid. They said an 8:26 start. I don't know if that's going to give us, it looks like they're a little bit behind on that now, but anyhow, the guys are currently setting their fuel, and the guys outside the top 10 are selecting their tires. I wanted to add or expand upon what Puff was talking about. I think the guy to watch is Arrow. He's the first guy on the softs. I don't have the standings at this point right on my screen. I think he's in 8th. He's very clever. He can make those tires last. If the rain holds off long enough and the guys have to come in front of him to pit for either another pair of softs or mediums, Arrow is going to make out like a bandit. But that remains to be seen. Obviously, the rain, you never know when it's going to come. You might hear that it's going to be in 5 minutes, and then 5 minutes later, it's still 5 minutes away. So interesting to see, because these guys are all dealing with the same type of issue. They really don't know when the rain is going to come. They expect it, but they don't know. As we follow them around. Actually, my screen is showing them follow around. I got to follow the broadcast. They are still currently in the pits. Let me see if I can pull up some tires here. See what the guys in the back, outside the top 10, what they did. So, yeah, everybody outside the top 10, including Doth in 10th, who probably qualified on the mediums. Everybody's on the mediums. So Aerostrike is the only one other than outside the top 10 on the mediums. Aerostrike is so darn clever. I wouldn't put it past him that he has some sort of insight given the way information is presented to him. He has a knack for understanding what to expect. He does not get, I guess the best way to say it is he doesn't get fooled. He rarely gets fooled. Even when he gets fooled, he finishes 3rd.
GP, I am back.
Welcome back.
Big entrance. No, thank you for doing that. I keep going with what you're saying. Didn't want to interrupt you there, but the boys are coming up on the grid here if you want me to go ahead and take us through the race start.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so the boys here, we have the Tier 1 Zenith Online Racing French Grand Prix about ready to start. We thought medium hard strategy, but it's looking as if we're going to go the quickest tire possible to get to the rain. that we heard is coming, and as you can see from the skies above, it's not looking too bright. So we're going to set on board here with D-Zyg, or Zyg, however you want to say it. We've been corrected a couple times. But we'll set on board him with him to get the view of the top 4 for the race start here. The grid is formed up. The lights are getting ready to go out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 lights. 5 lights are out, and we're away. Long light here. We are going to drop down to Zyg as they head down into this very quick section of left turn 1 and then turn 2 heading back to the right before it gets technical down in the corner heading along the straight. Looks like we got a sector 1 yellow flag. Sam dropping back there. Zyg right on the back of Vitality's tail. Zamoglis getting a small gap here to JFD. Zyg gets a little loose. We're going to hop back up to Zamoglis here, see what's going on. JFD, incredible start.
Oh.
Incredible start.
Stan had a problem. Stan has dropped back quite a bit. He's dropped
Stan
back.
very loose. Puff takes a spin as well. Rough start for Mr. Puff, who didn't get digital at the beginning of this French Grand Prix. The leaders are heading through the 8 and 9 quick chicane down into the flat out right-hander. We'll hop back up with Zamoglis following JFD around lap 1 here. GP, skies are looking pretty dark, as we spoke about just before the race, you know, knowing that the rain is coming. But skies are looking dark. I don't know how long this dry weather is going to hold out. We do have a very tight grouping here all the way back to Mr. T-Money, then a 2.6 second gap back to Gruesome Cars. So top 12 rolling together here, very single file.
Yeah, so through the first lap, if I may, Ryan has gained 5 positions, and as I said, that he dropped back 1, but he was the big gainer, and he's back to 5. Everybody else is 4 or fewer.
Yeah, great call out there, GP. I was going to notice that. Ryan picks up 5 with the quali ban that I believe he served, so that's huge for him. We'll go ahead and check out the tires once again that everybody's on. So we got all the way back to 7th on the soft tire compound, 8 and 9 mediums, then UK Coxie on the softs, then the rest are medium tire compound with Ty back there with the rough start on the softs. It looks as if Vitality's just staying on Zamoglis' tail. Zyg not too far behind after he got loose a bit there. But JFD trying to pull that gap out before the DRS opens of this 27-lap French Grand Prix. Yeah, what'd you make of the start, though, GP? We did speak about how Ryan got a great jump, quality advance in positions there. Not too much else going on other than Beck and Gruesome picking up 4. We did see that Bega loses 4, Stan loses 5, and rough start for Puff Digital setting back there in 17th. But what are you seeing so far, GP?
From what I saw, just great driving. Just great driving. There was a lot of close tire-to-tire racing, but everybody kept it pretty clean. It's impossible, almost impossible to not have incidental contact and whatnot. So, you know, these guys did a great job through that first lap.
Yeah, it's good to see the guys make it through lap 1. Lap 1 is about the closest you're going to get, other than later race battles. I did see a sprinkle there, GP, on Vitality's windscreen. Looks like the rain is already starting to show up. So maybe the guys that chose the soft tires did choose right, because soft should make it 6 to 8 laps. And that's going to put up some pace on the medium tire compound drivers. I think the soft drivers benefited, GP. I think that was the best call.
It does confuse me, though, if that is common knowledge, so to speak, and as Ryan picks up another position, moves up in 13th. Why did guys back 10th, 11th back go on to the mediums? If they were aware that this rain was coming this quick, they would have probably all gone on the softs. So I think this is probably surprising a lot of the guys. out
I
on track.
think the grip levels are starting to fall off. So, yeah, very, very.
Oh, there goes. Oh no, that's Beck. Beck has spun out in turn 10,
Yeah, Beck loses it. It looks
11.
like as if he retired there. So Beck is out of the race. Uh, on lap 3, VSC comes out, slows the cars down. The rain has picked up. As I was saying, Cam DeLuca picks up 5 for speeding into the pits there. Is he going to go ahead? We'll drop back and see what he's doing. See if he throws on... Camden's going to go ahead and throw on the inters, which I think may have been the
That's
good
tough.
move.
I think so. That's tough.
Well, it did look to me as right before Mr. 9,000 trillion million took his early lap 3 retirement that Vitality's screen, Vitality gets very loose right there coming out of 6 into 7. As we go back green, the grip levels are starting to fall off. They're quickly starting to go away. So just keep
Aerospec is past RC7 right here. Sorry.
We had Biga come on the inters as well, so the driver's starting to make the change. Keep an eye on those guys if you would, GP. We'll try to keep an eye as well to see if that was maybe the better move, but seems like the grip levels are just enough to say slicks at the moment. But I wouldn't see this lasting too long. As we know, and we spoke about before, GP, with a fellow Tier 1 driver, we were talking, the grip is needed at a place like this. Very quick, very left and right, very flowy, very high speed. You need grip to make the car perform. So when the rain comes down, pretty much ruins everything. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, see if the guys can keep it clean, keep the car going in a straight line.
Yeah, the guys that got on the ender, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. They are struggling. So Camden and certainly Arbig are not having the response that they wanted.
Well, thank you for pointing that out, GP. I'm sure that's what everybody was
And
wondering.
almost lost it.
I myself was wondering that. RC in the pits, he's holding there. Maybe a 5-second penalty there. He comes back out on the softs. I think those maybe had been his quali tires. So he's going to try to gain some track position here. Maybe before they go in and do pit. Zamoglis makes a big move. Vitality there in the inside as they go into 8 and 9, the quick chicane off the high-speed straight. JFD falls down to 3rd, and he's...
What happened to JFD?
I just missed it, but Beck leaves the session after that early retirement. JFD falls off a bit from Vitality and Zamoglis there. Not too sure if that's the weather getting a hold of his car. Maybe it's about time to come in. It's going to be interesting to see these guys dive in, GP. It's going to be interesting to see when they decide to go.
You know what happened to JFD last week? He may just trying to be a little bit cautious, not wanting to throw the race away like, I hate to say it that way, throw the race away like he did last week. Not that he did, but having spoken to him before this race, I think that he's got that on his mind. He wants to make sure that he finishes this race. He knows how close it is for the championship. So this just might be an example of him just being cautious.
Yeah, great commentary there, GP. Like to keep, you know, the whole idea of the entire season in mind. You know, it's not one in one race. But Arrow in the chat throws out the knowledge there that it is a heavy rain in the second to last box of the weather report. Ryan picks up 5 seconds for corner cutting, but it seems as those guys at the back there, Biga and Camden, maybe made the early move much too early to the inners. But with Arrow stating that the heavy rain is coming, we're going to see the guys make a switch. I would assume shortly, because we were 6 laps into this 27-lap race. JFD just can't seem to get up there to Zamoglis and Vitality, who are having a battle back and forth. But if that keeps up, GP. We know how battles work for the trailing car. It will allow you to catch up in a...
And Zag just went off track. Not serious, just drifted wide. Lost traction.
UK Coxey retires from session. We got another VSC out. Looks like if he was heading out of that high-speed right-hander, maybe tried to take it a little too quick and loses it before he hits turn 11.
Zag pitting. So are other guys in front of him.
JFD, Vitality stays out. Bold move there, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out. Ginnett stays out. Arrow, Doth. We have Zamoglis, JFD, Zyg, T-Money, Ryan, Puff Digital, all in the pits at the moment. They're going to throw on the inters. They're going to try to make this strategy work out. Unfortunate for the guys at the rear there that maybe went a little too early. Hopefully for them they can benefit from the this pit strategy change. As we go back green, Ty picks up a Tyler End picks up a 5-second time penalty.
Ouch.
Lots going on, GP. Kind of tough to keep up with. Seems like Doth there in 4th place. He was coming out of turn 7, got a little loose. So maybe staying out wasn't the right move. We got a yellow flag, sector 3. That's RC just taking a spin in the water, coming out of turn 11.
Well,
but as I was saying,
Arrow, because Arrow is stable as can be, so it's not indicative of what everybody else is experiencing. He's on the mediums, and he's really not having a problem. He's actually right on units behind, and Vitality not too far ahead. So he's probably the Verstappen of...
Yeah, I would agree.
F1.
And as we know, even though he is on the mediums, once the rain hits, slicks just become slicks in a way. Again, it's going to dive in. So is Vitality. Arrow just says no. I personally put... I think
slip up for Arrow coming out of that first turn, last turn.
I think Arrow there and maybe Doth just decided to say, we put treads in our slick tires before the race started. We don't need to pit. But very, very bold move there by both drivers. They're just deciding to stay out, as well as Gruesome Car, as he's up into 3rd place. We'll check to see. Gruesome's picked up 14 positions, GP, by just staying out and driving clean. So good on Gruesome Car there. Doth very loose, exiting turn 6 into 7. Arrow, as normal, we know he's just like, whatever, I don't have an issue with the rain. I'm going to keep going.
Well, it's telling to some degree. The top 3 guys are still on the medium tires. Are they trying to make a point? Are they trying to say, look, I picked the strategy, I need to stretch it out like I thought I needed to? Are they just being stubborn and not coming in when they probably should?
You know, we
think
thought...
it's probably the latter.
We thought the mediums were going to be... I mean, the softs were the way to go with the rain, as we saw the rain come down. But it seems those guys had to go ahead and jump in there. With it being lap 8, those softs have probably worn off way too much with the rain and the track being slick. It just wasn't working. So maybe those guys on the mediums possibly made the right choice. We'll see what Ginnett has going on here. Arrow Strike, 5 seconds, just ignores the speed limit in the pits completely. He gets to do what he wants. He's going to hop in there, probably throw in the inters. Doth comes in. Gruesome comes in. So Ginnett's going to come around the corner here, exiting turn 15 onto the front stretch. In the lead, I think. We'll see if Arrow gets out quicker. But Ginnett's going to be right there. So Arrow makes it work. Arrow's going to stay in front.
Incredible.
Ginnett picks up 2nd place. Splits Vitality and Doth. So good on Ginnett making that strategy work with, I guess you could say, with that being overcut, going before to make them last longer. Arrow tries the undercut, keeps the lead alive for himself onto the inters. We have most of the grid. Sam's going to come in. Stan's going to come in. UK Coxey and Beck are retired. So this will be the entire grid on the inters, GP. We're going
Correct.
full
Yep.
wets. Full rain
Yep.
tires at the moment. But your prediction here, GP, with Mr. Aerostrike, as we know he's a tier 2 driver. His position doesn't count. So currently at the moment, Ginnett has the lead. If you would say theoretically, but you know, Aerostrike is the race leader in the race, respectively, I guess to say, before I fumble my words up too much. GP, do you think those guys at the front are going to carry the inters as long as possible, like they did with the slicks, until they have to go full wets if that heavy rain shows?
I think that the ones that try to push it and then recognize that they probably mistake are going to be cautious. The ones that called it right are going to do what they would expect. So that probably doesn't answer your question. But I think what will happen is that when the heavy rain comes, you'll probably see everybody come in within a lap or two at most. No more risk taking. Words, guys at the front, like Aero, is not going to try to take the inters another 2 or 3 laps longer than he should at this point.
Well, we do have a Sector 3 yellow flag. Gonna drop back and see what's going on there. That's Mr. Stan in the wall, coming out of the high speed, and he resets to track. I got it on camera. You know, very unfortunate for him, because that is something the guys are supposed to know not to do. So you don't reset to track ever. I caught it. RC7 had to ghost through him. So hopefully that didn't cause too much issue to RC7's pace there.
So right now, pace, if you can drop back to Zyg, if you're not on Zyg. Zyg and JFD are having a battle here in 6th and 7th. On nose to tail, pretty much.
Yeah, it seems as that these top 8 here, you know, kind of staying together. Zamoglis has a slight gap here to Doth, but the top 4 there are running well together. Another...
Yep, that's Gruesome.
Gruesome. It seems as if turn 10 there, GP, the high-speed right-hander, is just becoming deadly. Gruesome picks up a 10-second penalty.
Ouch.
Not sure if that's really earned. You know, if you go wide and you take a spin, you get really loose. I don't know how you can be given a 10-second penalty if you're just giving a car room, you know, so you can re-enter the track.
I didn't see any fault in what he did. There was nothing. But
we got another one. Another Camden Luca decides to just take a spin out of turn 10. Very unfortunate. Zyg picks up 3. But it seems as if that turn 10 is becoming deadly for everybody. We'll go ahead and hop on board here with Ginnett to win it as they go through that 8 and 9. Just about see what's happening in turn 10. I would assume at the moment, GP, unless the guys are running incredibly high downforce, that you're gonna have to maybe let off, because guys are losing it left and right out of turn 10. That should be, under dry conditions, a flat out full speed right hand turn heading down into turn 11, the big sweeper.
No, that's a great point. Great point. We don't know what the drivers decided to do with their setups, knowing that rain was coming. So the starting grid may not necessarily reflect the fastest setups. Now that the rain has come down, maybe we'll see those guys that took that chance and changed their setup for the rain. Maybe they start coming to the front.
Yeah, and we also don't know. We know it is dry to wet. Arrow gets a little loose heading into the last corner there, but we don't know if maybe this heavy rain that is coming is going to last till the end. So possibly, you know, as we have Doth here right on Vitality's tail, possibly the rain lets off at the end. If it goes heavy, I don't know if it'll be enough to make them want to go back to slicks. But it's going to be very interesting here as we get into the heart of this race and here in the middle laps, the middle teens, to see what happens as the rain picks up. Just seeing Doths on board here. Lots of spray coming from Vitality in front, so I think the weather is worsening at the moment. And you know, these Tier 1 drivers have been just given the greatest privilege of not having hardly any rain thrown their way. So I think this is deserving in a GP. It's deserving in a...
Absolutely. Karma.
You know, us Tier 2 drivers just... the groundskeepers decide to turn on the water sprinklers every single race that we're in. So, you know, maybe they deserved it a little bit, as we have JFD, Zyg, T-Money, all very close together here.
Incredible at the front.
But Aerostrike just, Aerostrike's holding that gap on Ginnett. Ginnett, very quick guy. It's tough to see JFD down there in 6th, but I think he's really working his way. He's keeping that gap from Zyg just enough apart where he can hold on to it. GP, your opinion. We know it's harder to pass in the rain, but do you think you get a little less of a toe when it's wet?
Absolutely.
I think the falling in the draft in the toe of the car in front is less effective when it's raining.
For sure. First off, the timing of getting back on the throttle is just so much more varied. When you're on the dries, on the slicks, it's, you know, maybe you're talking about a second or even less than a second before you get on the throttle relative to the guys are in the rain with the different setups. I think that expands to 1.5, maybe more. So you lose not necessarily the draft, but you just can't keep up with the car or can't stay ahead of the car because your response time is good.
And GP, thank you for that. That's a very valid point, that the acceleration points are obviously incredibly different when it's wet out, but I did notice that your microphone was breaking up a tad there. Hopefully mine isn't as well. Please let me know if it does. Is it clear?
Goes even fine.
Okay, good to hear. Unfortunate that GP's mic's breaking up a tad for me. Hopefully it doesn't. Maybe it clears up. It's been very sporadic, so maybe it's not that big of a deal.
God, I hope not.
The boys said you sounded fine before we started, so hopefully not too big of an issue. It looks as if the sun's trying to peek through here, but sorry, as my dog just decides to open my door with her nose, come in and say hello. Makes a really loud squeak every time she does that.
Maybe Guido can respond and let me know if my mic is working fine or not.
But not too much going on at the moment. Everybody on the inters. We have Arrow, who decided to go late with Doth, and Sam's on the 4s, and leader Stan there is on the 3-lap-old inters. So everybody's on the inters. I think the only thing at the moment would be the lap age of the tires. Maybe is the only difference in the cars right now. Everybody's just kind of single file, trying to stay with the car in front, just trying to hold on, keep going until possibly this heavy rain does come down and makes everything 10 times worse than it already is. But we do have our Biga in the pits. He's going to go ahead and throw on another set of inters and head back out, so maybe those were really wearing down. He was on 9-lap-old tires, GP, so we'll see if that is maybe the point where they start going, or maybe he just decided, I'm outside the top 10 at the moment, let's go ahead and put on fresh ones, try to gain some track position before, if maybe the the heavy rain starts coming down.
Yeah, my guess would be um, if he felt that the heavy, just around the corner, he would have stayed out on the interest. So my feeling is that there's going to be just a long stretch of this. As I say that, it looks like it's even heavier. But I think that so the guys are wagering that it's going to stay.
Camden Luca picks up 3. If the stream didn't hear it, GP's mic, unfortunately, you're breaking up again for me a tad, but GP was kind of stating there that the guys are thinking maybe this is just going to carry on with inters. I think that's what he was referring to for possibly the remainder or deeper into this race. But yes, as he was saying that, and GP stated out that the rain seems to be getting somewhat heavier. JFD and Zyg side by side going into turn 8 and 9 there. Just staying side by side. They're going side by side through a very high speed chicane there. Zyg's going to end up taking it, but T-Money right on the tail. So we got a 3-car battle heading near into the high speed right-hander. Zyg goes out a tad wide. JFD hugs that curb. Zyg's going to hold the lead of this battle for 6th. T-Money right there, just behind that. We have Mr. Puff Digital, who's trying to close that gap. He's going to show up very close here shortly to T-Money, as we have Stans.
And Ghost.
Oh no, I caught that, just a sliver. We have a Sector 3 yellow flag. Ryan comes out of the high speed, takes the inside wall.
Oh no.
That is on the inside of the track there, so I don't know if it's going to warrant. Definitely not a safety car thus far for all the VSCs we've had. But Puff Digital makes that pass on T-Money as he dives in the pits, throwing a fresh set of inners. Yeah, GP, your mic is just completely going at the moment.
Are you? Okay, Bag of Bones told me mine was good.
Now it's better.
Okay, let me change this up here.
Now it's better. Take your time. Okay. Do a little mic test for yourself. I'll keep it rolling
just
here.
Hold my mic.
Yeah, maybe that'll work. You sound a million times better.
Oh, nice. All right.
Much clearer, much better. GP having a little technical issue with the microphone. The French Grand Prix staff gave me the better one, apparently. They just said, forget about a GP, no one wants to hear it. No, everyone wants to hear GP, but
well, I'm not seeing that. Where do you see that?
It's unfortunate sometimes, it's a video game what it comes down to. We have lag outs every now and then. That's unfortunate. Incredibly unfortunate when we have lag outs. We have connection issues, and it's just what happens. Just like in real life, cars decide to say, we're going to just have a quick engine failure here. Zamoglis is going to dive into the pits. So as we thought, Arrow, Gennett, Vitality, Doth, they're all going to stay out. JFD's back up into 6th place, getting close to Zyg, but it looks like those clouds are slightly darkening here, GP, so that rain's looking pretty vicious at the moment.
It is. It's got to be that transition point. Yeah, I was going to comment that living here in the northeast of the United States, it resembles the first hour of snowfall, where the pavement stays, where the cars are driving all the time, stays dark because of it's warm. But on the outside of that, the snow starts to accumulate because it's not as warm. And that's what it looks like to me. It's just like everything outside of the race line is soaked.
Absolutely. And if you don't stay in that race line, which is a very valid point that GP said, when it's snowing, It's a quality point, great analogy that I never thought of. Tyler in picks up 3. That you follow the car in front of you, because that creates a, you know, GP, that creates a line for the tires to fall into. If you go out of that, where cars haven't been before, there's a reason they haven't been there before.
You're snow plowing. Basically.
So,
or hydro in the water.
You know, as we see the 2 different camera views, if we switch back and forth, Zyg's going to jump into the pits.
Yep.
But as you see, now that Zyg is gone, look how, even though the rain is coming down, how much clearer JFD's view is.
Absolutely.
Massive difference when you are the leading car in the rain compared to the trailing car.
Interesting to note here that, you know, our good friend Aero Strike, 8 seconds ahead of Vitality, 1 lap younger tires, Dot, same age tires as Aero, and another second plus back. So Aero Strike again, Verstappen showing his magic here.
And we know Aero is just Mr. Crazy Man, as we have a yellow flag back here. I believe that was Sector 3 yellow flag with Stan. Maybe taking a spin out of turn 12 there. Sam picks up 5 for speeding in the pit lane. Seems as if the guys are having trouble with that pit entry there. Coming off of turn 14, they're just not slowing down heading those pits. We got a lot of speeding left and right. I think Aero picked up one himself, as we have Zamoglis going around, trying to come back on track. Just right in the racing line there, gruesome car, as he gets around safely, but cars falling off here, GP, left and right. GP, your mic just decides to go. That's good now, but sometimes when you say something very important, GP, your mic decides to not allow it.
So what I'm going to do is hold it like, you know, the guys back in the 70s when everybody was not born yet. Hold it in their hand. That's what I'm going to do now. So Vitality almost lost it coming through turn 15. I was just going to comment that I saw sunshine reflecting off the track as he was doing so. So
yeah, it looks as if on Doth's TV pod view we had a little glare of sun, but still quite a bit of rain. I think the sun may just be saying hello to the guys, but that rain is pouring
down the front straight.
That rain is coming down in a massive effect at the moment, but as we were getting to earlier, Aero Strike with that 8.5 second gap on Vitality. Crazy Man Aero is one of those guys that just loves the rain for some odd reason and says, I'm just going to drive away. I don't need the grip. It doesn't matter to me. That's just the way he does. When it rains, he gets very exciting. He's a quick driver in the dry, which is frustrating enough for all of us in Tier 2. Just drives away in the dry. But when it's wet, he really shows what the car can do. So good for him, even though none of us like to see him drive away from us in Tier 2. Good for him showing the Tier 1 guys what's up and just driving off.
Vitality's boxing.
GP calls out Vitality jumping in the box. We have Doth there just staying pace with Aero on the 11 lap olds, and we got a Sector 1 yellow flag. That's Camden Luca, who loses it out of the left-hand turn 1. Not too sure what happened. Probably caught a little too much curb. We all know, and GP I know you know as well, especially me since I'm a new driver on the No Traction Control fan club with my wheel, the dry, you can't accelerate off. Oh, and Camden just gets loose again, really heating up those inters. But what I was saying, GP, accelerating on the curb in the dry is bad enough. It's like an ice skating rink if you try to do it in the wet.
Depends on the differential as well.
Well, the differential for sure, but the grip levels as they are gone when it's raining, I'd say those curves are probably just like a patch of ice, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There aren't very many. They don't worry about the curves. Doth told, I think it was in. Oh God. Anyhow, go on. Trying to think of the track and I can't.
Go on, GB says. Little brain fart there, maybe. No, it's all good. Everybody in the chat who's listening, just know this is GP's number 2 race, his second race up in the booth. He was here with me.
Oh, Puff is all over the place.
Puff is all over the place there. Turn 11. We'll hop back and see what's going on with him. Maybe he just got a little loose out of there. We'll see how he heads into turn 12 and 13. Looks like he's gathered himself. But as I was saying, this is race number 2. Camden Luca comes out of the pits in 15th in front of JFD. But JFD seems like he's making some moves here. Going to try to slowly work on that 10-second gap. I mean, that 11-second gap, I should say, up to Doth. But GP's second time in the booth. He joined me last week in Australia. Do you feel improvements, GP? You know, my first time, I joined the EU guys. Thank you to Sir Harry Hotspur, who's out racing with us today during that move, as we spoke about earlier. He gave me a shot, and then I jumped in with Mr. Chicken, who I stated last night had his little chicken nugget child. His little, he just had a little newborn, so he's going to have to step away from the booth for a little bit and racing, as it seems. To take care of that, you know, life comes first. So I got a hold of my Tier 2 teammate, GP here. Wanted to see if he would jump in, and he happily did, and it seemed like he liked it last week. GP, oh, Ginnett makes a big move on JFD, just outbreaks him completely. Camden's going to get out of the way, hopefully let these guys go. But GP, how are you liking it this week? I know we're having some microphone troubles with you. Unfortunate, but do you feel a difference? Do you feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I feel like a little what's going on outside of what you're talking about. Add something to it. Certainly feel comfortable enough. I just hope I'm actually given some information to inform like I want to right now, which is Puff Digital sitting in 7th on 3 lap-old inters. I'm looking at this. The guys like JFD's on 15 lap-old, then Dot and Aerostrike 13 lap-old tires. I'm just curious what's going to happen if these guys, let's see, Aero, Dot, and JFD pit. That is going to create some crowding because Puff is only 39 seconds back. So if anything goes wrong, Puff being furthest back is going to be probably 10-15 seconds away. Everybody in front of him is going to be that much closer, so it's going to get crowded at the front.
Oh yeah, definitely a great point there. That, you know, but we also have Ginnett on 4 lap-old inters.
Pretty.
Vitality on 2 lap-old inters. So those guys, even T-Money on the 6 lap-olds. Ginnett, Vitality, T-Money, Puff, Zyg, Zamoglis even. Not bad places to be on the newer tires with 4 laps left. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I think Aero, Doth, and JFD are going to just go for it. Because at this point, other than Doth really with that 12-second gap to Ginnett, those guys like JFD with just the 4 seconds behind to Vitality, if they pit, they're going to lose positions. You know, they might just have to go for it, and I think they will. As we know, Aero, crazy man who just can drive tires, and they can drive tires till they fall off.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose. This means nothing to his season. He's a
Oh,
reserve
Sector
driver
1,
here.
yellow flag. Gonna try to see who that was. That's gonna bring out a safety car. That's gonna
Oh
change
my! Here
everything.
we go.
Camden Luca retires. DNS out of turn 1 heading into turn 2. Probably went a little wide there, maybe grabbed a wall.
Let's
Stan
back up a
picks up
little bit.
3, but GP, Arrow's got a 15-second gap to Doth.
I
Arrow's
don't mean to
probably going
laugh.
Arrow's going to come in here. I think Doth will as well. So he has that 10-second gap to get it. So they're going to come in, almost basically get free pit stops, GP.
Almost.
We'll see how it
Almost.
works out. I'll set on board here with Arrow. See if he
Come
comes
on,
in.
Janet. So,
Arrow decides to stay out,
difference?
GP.
No.
Arrow decides to stay out.
Okay. Again, he is, godlike. He's godlike, basically, when it comes to F1. I don't know about the rest of his life, but
Doth comes into the
I
pits,
love
though.
him. Doth did come in, and so is Ginnett. Ginnett's coming in.
So Arrow just going to risk it for the biscuit. He's a
He has
reserve
nothing to
tonight.
lose.
He's a reserve tonight. He's made his point. He's led this race and just absolutely dominated thus far. But
So
Doth's going to come out. Vitality stays out on the
Yes.
so as we stated, GP, those guys that just decided to pit a little earlier really benefited from this. JFD decides to come into the pits as well, so we could see a last few lap really heated battle here. GP, I'm going to set on board with Mr. Aerostrike, see what happens once it goes green, but I'm going to step out for just a moment, so it's all yours for while the safety car is going.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. This, perfect. I won't be lacking in excitement, that's for sure. So, lap 24. Let me see if I can. So, Arrow has caught the safety car. Remains to be seen if the safety car is coming in this lap. But this is going to be exciting. Arrow on 50 tires. He may just be as good as Vitality as for Arrow's just very solid. But Team Money and certainly Doth, with all this going on behind Aerostrike, I think we're going to see a winner. Aerostrike is not going to win this race. Just can't win this race, not with the quality of the drivers behind him.
GP, I have returned.
Nice.
Thank you for that wonderful commentary there. I heard you. I know it was great. They installed a little restroom for us in the back of the booth here. I had to run off and do that, but I jumped in. I jumped in here, hearing you state that Arrow's not going to win this race.
No.
And you could be correct. We got, but Vitality has well, Stan's just going to try to unlap himself like I did, but he's going to get a 5-second time penalty for exceeding the track limits while all this is going on. Not too sure what he's trying to do, as he did reset himself to track earlier in the race. But GP, what you were saying, Arrow, he's going to have trouble winning this, but he has a lot of traffic behind him, and that of lapped cars to Vitality. I am counting five lapped cars
You're
currently.
breaking up. For me, anyways.
How am I now?
Better.
Okay, I'm counting 5 lap cars, GP, between Arrow and Vitality.
I'm counting, yeah, 1,
So that's got a 4.3 second gap back to Vitality at the moment for Arrow. So it's going to be
unfortunate.
it's going to be tough for Vitality. But you know, maybe he could, safety cars coming in this lap, maybe he could jump up there. As I was gone, T-Money is in third, Doth in fourth. Puff makes a big move after his unfortunate start of the invalidation in quali. He's up to fifth. Ginnett and JFD set in sixth and seventh. Zyg is a mogless gruesome car rounding out the top 10. It's going to be an interesting start here, GP, for Arrow, with luckily just this gaggle of lapped cars setting behind him to Vitality.
I don't see it as much of a problem.
I don't think it will be. They will have they'll have to let Vitality go, but it obviously is a huge advantage to Arrow for having that gap there.
And there he goes. Nope, my bad. I'm on board with T-Money. T-Money is T-Money obviously very fast. We know him from Tier 2 when he was there. He would he goes.
Vitality takes a little trip. But it looks like Arrow got an incredible jump to the car behind. So Vitality has a large gap of almost 4 seconds up to Arrow. These lapped cars are going to have to let him go as they just decide to go all over the track.
Oh God,
that's a yellow flag. That's a yellow flag for for Tyler there as he cuts across, and I think he collects Stan as well. Bigga and Sam here are going to have to let him go very shortly. But it looks like as if I don't think Vitality is going to catch Arrow. So Arrow is going to run away with this as it looks so far with 17 laps GP on intermediate tires. Those things have to be falling off. He says team orders kept him out. So they said, you know, we're just going to risk it here, Arrow. You're going to drive the furthest where no man has been before.
I don't trust Arrow. He's always fibbing. He's a big fibber. And I want to point out, Bigot was very gracious on between turn 7 and 8. He moved way over to the left, even though he was ghosted, to let anybody that was trying to move ahead get by.
So we have you know, quality racing by Big as usual. You know, making sure people have room. Bigga picks up 5 seconds for ignoring the blue flag. Doesn't want to let Vitality go. As looking at T-Money's TV bot here, those lapped cars are just deciding to stay right in the way. I'm not too sure why they just won't let cars go, being that they're not racing at the moment, causing possible issues for the unlapped cars. I don't know why they're just driving.
3-second penalty for Ginnett.
Ginnett picks up 3, but
multiple warnings.
The question for me, GP, at the moment is, why don't the lapped cars just, you know, Bigga is setting 11th, so with Arrow's finish, not counting, he will be in the top 10, but, you know, why aren't they just letting the lead pack go? Because, you know, driving, even though they are ghosted, a car inside another car is difficult. And it's not only him. I mean, I had seen it multiple different places, but if you're trying to drive through a ghosted car, it can cause a big distraction.
Oh, for sure.
And Stan moves out of the way. Sorry, GP, to interrupt, but Stan moves out of the way, which kind of backs up Doth, and Ginnett is right on the back, right on the gearbox of Doth. Gonna look for that inside
Arrow
line.
Takes exit left and leaves the track as almost on purpose, like he decided that, you know what, I shouldn't be winning this race. He just went left when the turn was to the right.
Oh, and on camera, we got it in the background. Tyler Aaron, he just he decided to go the same route Arrow went and just jumps off the track. So that puts Vitality in front, and T-Money
crosses.
Team Money is going to take the win. Doth is going to jump Vitality as well. JFD ends up 4th. Puff drops back a couple. He's sitting in P6. Zamogla 7th. Gruesome Car 8th. Zyg 9th. Arrow still, at the moment, going to finish in the top 10 because we have had at least 6 retirements there, GP. So all those cars, well, basically Biga and the rest of them were a lap down. So Arrow squeaked across top 10, which is going to put Biga in the 10th place points position there. But huge turn of events at the end of the race there, GP.
Absolutely. I did want to try to answer your question just before we get to the finish line there, which was why these drivers weren't moving. I have to believe that they were probably battling for position, so they were trying to be strategic in their giving up their, moving over to the side, because perhaps the guy behind them or right in front of them, they were literally challenging for position, and it looks like they were battling for a points paying position as well. So I think that probably played into it a little bit at that point.
Yeah, I mean, not pointing any fingers at any of those drivers' ways, 100% not saying that it was anything wrong, because they probably were fighting for position. Great, valid point there, GP. But, just unfortunate where that battle had to happen, which in turn gave Biga that 5 second for ignoring blue flags. He has to keep racing to hold on to his last points paying position there in 10th place, with Arrow's position not counting. But we'll go ahead and get T-Money, Doth, and Vitality in the party. I believe I have it set to private, GP, so I will have to go blue screen here and invite them myself. So we had T-Money, Doth, and Vitality. Yeah, not too sure what happened for him there. I don't know where the penalty came from, but that penalty, it just flat out gave away the podium for him there. I mean, not the podium, but the top spot for him there. Sorry, just taking a moment here to get some of the guys into the party that are appearing offline, as they like to do, so they make it difficult on us broadcasters here.
Game just crashed random, so that's fun. I don't know if that means he's out of it. To come into the post-base.
Yeah, are you friends with Vitality on here at GP? If you are, or if you can search him and suggest him to the party, we'll get him in here.
What's going on, guys?
Mr. Doth.
What's up?
Well, we're trying to get your podium counterparts in here, but some guys are appearing offline, so I had to do some searching, and Vitality's game seemed to crash right as the race was over there, so he's not in the lobby. I sent GP on a search for him.
I'm assuming it's...
And as the race winner, T-Money joins in. GP, while you work on him, try to find Vitality, suggest him to the party. I will...
Is he IX Vitality, by the way?
His name should be the same. Just check, shoot him a message. Hopefully we can get him in here. But we're going to go ahead and go with... Jump on to T-Money here. Hand him the mic. T-Money, wild race. you were battling up front for a while there. It was always close. Cars going left and right out of that high speed turn 10. The rain seemed heavy. It seemed like a lot. Arrow decided to carry tires onto 17 old lap intermediates, which is crazy, man, in my opinion. He lost it coming out of that turn. You end up taking the race win from Vitality off that 3-second time penalty. Take us through your race there, T-Money.
Well, I mean, qualifying, I don't know. I didn't really expect, like, everybody to start out on the softs. So many cars so close together, and I don't know what happened to Big. I know I tried to make a move down the inside, and I don't know what happened to him, but it was just it was a crazy race from start to finish, because even once the rain started to fall, I came in, I honestly, I came in probably at least like 2 laps too soon, because those intermediates, the front, like both of the front tires were just absolutely like cooked. Like they were up around almost like 210 degrees. Oof. And you know, once that I was just begging, I was like, please, like it needs to actually start raining or something, because I almost debated on having to come in for like a fresh set of inters with like 14 laps left. But when but at the end though, that safety car, I mean, that was just that was a gift. You know, there was no way that I would have even caught up to Vitality when I was back in like 5th or 6th place or something like that. And that safety car was just extremely, extremely helpful. But it also kind of helped too that Coxie, you know, we were in a party, and after he retired, he kind of stayed in and was my unofficial Jeff. So I also knew that Vitality had that 3-second penalty, which made it a lot easier for me, like knowing that I didn't have to push to get around him.
Yeah, that safety car, me and GP kind of lost it for a moment there, because we thought it was just gonna, you know, stay green. But the safety car comes out, you guys on the old lap enters get a chance. Arrow decides to stick it out, stay out front, which in turn ends up losing it.
That was a very bold option.
But it looked as if, you know, Arrow sitting there had that big gap between him and Vitality because of the lap cars in between, which they were fighting for position themselves. Mm-hmm. So, you know, they can't really, you know, they don't want to give up too much room to you front runners, because they got to make sure that they're trying to battle for that 10th spot. But great race, T-Money. You really benefited at the end there with the safety car and that 3-second. I'm not sure where it came from on Vitality, but quality race win. We will jump over to Mr. Doth. And Doth, just wait a moment before you talk, because I unfortunately went to the blue screen earlier and missed a sliver of what Mr. Mr. Race Winner T-Money had to say, because I had to search for Vitality. We're going to try to get him in here and go to him after, but go ahead. Go ahead, Doth. You were up. Take us through your race. Congratulations on the podium, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, so I wasn't sure with the rain what I was going to do, and as I saw myself flying down the order, I went out on the softs and actually ended up invalidating a 129.8, which would have put me on pole by 4/10 or something like that. So I was like, okay, I'll start in 10th on the mediums. And so at that point, when it started to rain, I was going to hold out for as long as I could, because I was going to try to not pit after I switched on to the mediums. So when the safety car came out, so Arrow was gone, but Arrow is he's a reserve, so it wouldn't have counted. So I had 9 and change seconds to gin it with 5 laps to go. But then how do I not pit with 65% worn tires? So trying to learn from my past mistakes, where we come in here and I bitch about the safety car, I actually pitted this time.
Yeah, so, you know, the safety car the safety car issues going back and forth on it, I think this was a perfect one to maybe promote, you know, the cool part of them. It changed the race at the end. The race was basically over. People were going to finish where they were. There was maybe a little battling left to be done, but the safety car kind of changed everything. You know, it added a quick, like, let's dive in real quick. Let's make a change. But Arrow, as he says in the chat, he was on 17 lap old tires. You said you were 65. That was a puncture for him.
A little less than that.
Arrow's tires decided to just blow on the straightaway heading into the high-speed turn 10. That's why he jumped straight to the left instead of the right turn, GP. But we finally got Vitality in here. Congratulations again, Doth. Vitality's here. He had the race win. We don't know what happened really with the time penalty. We'll probably see that in the incident reports, or maybe getting it removed or something. But Vitality, you really benefited there from the pit stops at the end. You stayed out. You had to sit behind all the lap traffic with Arrows, a 4-second gap to you. But take us through your race, Vitality. It got wild there, lots of rain, cars falling off left and right. So take us through it.
I'm going to start with the safety car restart. All those lap cars being in front really kind of hindered my progress of getting close to Arrow, but I'm more focused on really getting my time penalty removed because I got an extra warning for almost spinning into the wall, and going overall, I would have only had like 2 warnings for the rest of the race if I didn't get that. And I mean, I'm happy I got a podium out of it at least. I'd at least attempt to get the win if I can, but I'm just happy I was able to at least get something out of this because my car in the rain was absolutely horrible. So I'm just glad I was able to get something out of this.
Yeah, we're glad we got you in here to fill us in on it. Unfortunate that happens. We'll, you obviously take that to the guys. They'll see what can work out. But good job on you. You know, you're newer to the league, and quality on you for getting yet another podium. So it's always nice to hear from you, and battling with that rough race is what it seemed like from the booth to all you guys. Seemed like it was rough out there. Lots of rain coming down. Very, very rough on the traction. It seemed like this is a track where you need a lot of grip, I would say. Very high speed. So GP,
definitely.
GP, I know you had some mic issues through the race, but if you have any questions for the guys, throw it their way.
Yeah. So the rain, the forecast of the rain. I'll start with T-Money and Doth, and then Vitality can add if they like. So what was the forecast? When was the rain supposed to come, and how did that play into your strategy?
Well, looking at it in the beginning, it said roughly like 20 minutes in, which, like, when you're, like when you look up at the top and it has, you know, all the little, like, segments, it basically was supposed to come at, like, right at the very end of what should have been, like, the 12-lap medium stint. So I was kind of thinking, like, okay, you know, this paid off, you know, I'll just run out the mediums to the end and go on to the intermediates, but then it's, like, the first drops of rain started on, like, lap 3 or something like that, and I was like, yeah, this kind of ruined the plan, because I believe I went on to my first set of intermediates on, like, I think it was lap 7, or maybe 8 or something like that, and like I said, to me, I kind of messed that up, because I just put them on too soon, because those tires were cooked. But what Doth was saying, though, like, towards the end, you know, when you're driving on those worn intermediates, I mean, that was just like pure torture. You know, you're just babying the throttle, just trying not to spin out of the corners. Like,
you are not kidding. That's a great description for it.
It's even for me, I'm probably lucky too that safety car didn't come in until the end of lap 25, because my tires were like both of the front tires were approaching like 40% as we started as the safety car like first came out,
So let me just, to be sure, I was trying to, early on, I was trying to get Vitality in here. Pace, you did not ask this, I hope, about the tires, the strategy at the beginning. I don't want to repeat the same question.
No, go ahead. I'm just
Okay.
dealing with the guys who decided to start the race back over by readying up, so we're going back into a race lobby.
Oh, okay. So Doth, you were, Arrow was ahead of you, I think, in 8th on the mediums, and then you qualified in 10th,
I think,
I
yeah.
believe, in medium. And I think you did touch upon it, the strategy, but I'm not sure if the question was asked the same way. Forgive me again if you've already been answered
you're
this
fine.
question, but yeah. So my curiosity is how the forecast played into your decision to go onto the mediums, and if I think you said maybe that you invalidated a qualifying lap at that point as well. So.
Yeah, so it said it was going to do, exactly kind of like T-Money. I mean, we got the same forecast from Jeff. It said it would be one drop of rain at about 20 minutes, and then there would still be another drop at 45. So what that told me is like it was going to start raining at some point during the race, and then it would just be a wet race from there on in. So the million-dollar question was when. So
Right.
Zyga and I started talking in the pits about like, okay, should we go on mediums, go on softs, whatever. So I ran 2 runs actually on the mediums, and I ran like the 131.0 or something. So I was like, okay, this is fine. If it starts me in like 5th or 6th or something like that, and I'm on the mediums, that's fine because it gives me flexibility with the rain. But then as my time started dropping back, I was like, well, I would rather start close to the front on the softs. So then I threw on the soft tires, but then I invalidated in turn 1, so it didn't matter. And then at that point, I took the mediums as long as I could until the grip absolutely went to then go up onto the inters. But had I started on the softs, I probably would have done a 2-stop on the inters because I would have pitted a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But for that late safety car.
Vitality, same question. How did that play into your strategy in terms of the weather forecast and the tire decision going into qualifying and what you wanted to start the race on?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last bit of the question again?
Sure. Given that the rain was forecast, your strategy going into the race and the tire that you wanted to start on, how did you come to that decision?
Well, seeing that the race was going to have some rain, I figured I may as well just throw on the sauce to get the starting position and just hold on to it until it came. And I was hoping it would have come at least like maybe a lap or 2 earlier and the track would have started getting wet a lot more. But if it wasn't going to rain, I was just going to do the typical medium to hard strategy. But since the rain came, I figured I may as well throw on sauce and try to see if I can make something out of this at the start of the race, which I'm glad I did for the most part because I got a couple spots.
Mm-hmm.
But apart from that, I was just mainly looking at the start and getting good track position from that because I knew the mediums I wouldn't have preferred to be on them for the sake of grip purposes. So
Yeah, and so your penalties. You mentioned that you were looking to get some penalties taken away, or looked at anyways. Do you have a particular point in the race? Do you know what lap it was, or roughly when it was, and the circumstances around it? I know you mentioned it, talked about it a little bit earlier, but if you can expand on that a little bit.
well, I got one warning on the safety car restart when I got
Sorry
a
to
little
cut
bit
you
of
off,
wheel
guys.
spin.
I gotta run. I'm catching a phone call, so just in case you said goodbye, thank you guys. I had fun, but
you,
I
Doc.
gotta run.
Great quality race.
Commentating.
Sorry, Vitaly. Go ahead.
You're good. On the safety car restart, I got a little bit of wheel spin. You guys happened to catch that, I think, or something. And I got an extending track warning for that, which I shouldn't have gotten, in my opinion, because I didn't even intend to go off there, and I don't know why gave me a penalty for that. And then earlier on in the race, I think around like maybe lap 17 or so, I had gotten really loose and almost spun into the wall in front of Doth, and I had gotten a warning for that when I was trying to save the car from spinning into the wall. So I'm getting both of those clips to send to the incidents chat and see if I can get those removed, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have had I wouldn't have had 2 extra warnings, and I would have been able to get away with keeping the win instead of getting a time penalty for it.
How did that affect your mindset for the rest of the race? I mean, it obviously bothered you that, and I know it would have bothered me if I felt that I didn't deserve a penalty and I got one. How did you maintain your focus?
I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit annoyed by it, but I was just hoping on the sake of that safety car not coming out, or at least when it did, I was just hoping, like, I'm at least hoping somebody behind me has another penalty, or I can just get a decent enough gap to try and get ahead. But, I figured as soon as I got out, I was like, I'm getting the clips of these because I don't want to get screwed over by a penalty that I shouldn't have. So
Nah, don't worry about it. These guys are fair. Good. We got good stewards.
Well,
I can't get the screenshot of the race director, however, though, because my game managed. For some reason, like right as soon as we got back to the lobby, it crashed. Like it gave me the blue screen, and I had to restart my game. So I can't get that, but I'm gonna try and see if I can at least get anything from the clips. Hopefully, with them being understanding for that, because I can't control that necessarily.
I know Errol, I'm pretty sure Errol said in the chat that he had the race director, but he said that she had like 5 warnings or something like that.
I only got 3 on screen. I didn't remember getting 2 others, so I have to check those out in that case.
Get a hold of him. He'll send you that, and we'll wrap it up here. We'll get that looked at there, Vitality, and you'll see what happens. But quality race win, and then quality race win to you, T-Money, that end up coming out of the penalty. Good on Doth as well. He had to step out. Thanks for being here once again, GP, and we will see you next week, same time, same place, at Austria for round 19 of the Tier 1 Zenith Online Racing series. But Thursday as well, make sure you come and check out the Tier 2 League running at 8 p.m. We will be here in France as well. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks, as always, GP, and good on you, podium finishers.